in support of medical marijuana. Councilmember Gloria also noted that the committee would be chaired by a patient or medical marijuana user. A chair's role is to facilitate discussion. Would there be a personal bias that might limit the discussion or allow what's allowed in those meetings for an entire year? Another seat would represent outside legal counsel. As you've already heard today, is there any assurance the space would also not be filled by a pro-marijuana profiteer? Most important, there was only one committee seat afforded to those who work for the public good, representing substance abuse and prevention or addiction. Would this person be able to voice concerns in an open dialogue without feeling oppressed? At the chance the committee is heavily biased, as it sounds it would be. I guess I would ask, if the task force is formed as outlined or described, please consider adding additional community voices, as you've heard, perhaps an addiction treatment provider, and 2 authentic community voices such as Faith, PTA, or other parents who represent youth and children and the good of what's best for all of the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Scott Chipman. And Mr. Chipman, while you're coming up, there was some folks in opposition wanted to register opposition but did not need to speak. Mr. William Whiteside, Don Kamali, Nancy Dalzell, and Marcella Tehran. Thank all of you for coming and filling out your slip. Mr. Chipman.
I think a pro speaker made a good point. This is an industry. There's no question that the rapid proliferation of stores selling marijuana is a problem. The blacked-out windows, armed guards, cash, guns, and no oversight create an ideal environment for profiteering and criminal activity. The numbers of stores is not going up because the number of patients is going up. The number of stores is going up because of profit. I provided a list of 62 stores this morning. There's no question that the advertising in local publications, discount coupons, promotional giveaways are all evidence of a retail nature and profitability of these dispensaries. A co-founder of Prop 215 today acknowledges that most of the dispensaries operating in California are little more than dope dealers with storefronts. I challenge the San Diego PD and the DA's office to investigate every one of those 62 establishments on the list and see if even one of them is acting within the state dispensary guidelines. If you are going to make a place for a dispensary owner on the task force, I assume you are going to want to find someone who is operating legally within those guidelines. I don't think you will. Only 8 of them have even received a San Diego business tax permit, but they are in business to make a profit just the same. What will be their penalty for not paying the $34 fee? Next year, they will owe $68. Meanwhile, by their own admission, they are making upwards of $20,000 per week profit. A task force should only include residents of San Diego, and every one of them should be operating legally. The question should not be whether there should be medical marijuana or even this task force. The question is what to do about these stores selling illegally. Setting up a task force implies the city and the council don't know what to do regarding an issue that has been ruled upon, voted upon, and clarified by the state attorney general. Dispensaries are not mentioned in the Compassionate Care Act, Prop 215, or the medical marijuana program. As such, allowing them is in violation of the California Charter that indicates a citizen initiative can only be amended by another citizen initiative. Senate Bill 420, enacted to clarify and implement Prop 215, specifically prohibits making a profit from marijuana distribution, which is exactly what marijuana dispensaries do. This profit is attracting organized crime. 7 counties and 120 cities have banned dispensaries. A moratorium with weakness and no enforcement, like LA, can result in hundreds of dispensaries opening up anyway. Like it's been mentioned, Los Angeles had 520 stores selling marijuana in June. Now, just 4 months later, over 1,100. And it's estimated that over half of the dispensaries in LA are now connected to drug cartels. A city without a ban will become a magnet as well as a depository for predatory dispensaries. If we don't want to be like LA, we need a ban, not a task force.
Thank you, Mr. Chipman. That concludes our public speakers. We will now go into council comment. We do have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Emerald, second by Councilmember Fry, and I will now first turn to Councilmember Young.
Chair, I'd like to just defer the first commenter to Marty Emerald. So I
Okay,
go after
very good.
this.
Councilmember Emerald,
So
certainly.
we'll just swap it out. First of all, I want to thank everybody who came here today to speak out, and it's for all of the reasons that you have articulated, and most of you so eloquently, that we are proposing a task force to look at all of these various issues. The grave concern about the proliferation of these storefronts, the impacts on youth and neighborhoods, conditional use permits, zoning land use issues, taxing, moratoriums, limits on the numbers of co-ops, and perhaps even enforcement of some of this advertising that is also proliferating within our community. It's for all of these reasons that we want to convene a task force. There are a number of comments about, why should it take a year? Under the city charter, it says that if we create a task force, it has to be of short duration. The one-year period would be the maximum length that this task force would meet. Personally, I'd like to get on it right away and come back with some recommendations that are meaningful, that could be fodder for good, sound public policy going forward as soon as possible. And under the proposal, we would ask each member of the City Council to nominate people in their communities who meet all of these various criteria. And again, allow me to please just list the different criteria people were looking for. Definitely community people who live in neighborhoods, who see what's going on day in and day out. People with legal experience, law enforcement experience, small business operators, somebody who owns a collective or operates a cooperative, something that is legally defined by the state, medical professional, legal professional, social service people, and yes, a medical marijuana patient, one, perhaps two or three at the most. A broad sweep of people from throughout the city of San Diego to come together and start addressing all of these difficult issues, these very emotional issues that we're discussing here today, because this is the law of the state of California, and we need some policies that we can follow here in the city of San Diego so there is no confusion. There is no confusion about guidelines that impact patients and caregivers. There is no confusion about guidelines for the structure and operation of cooperatives and collectives, and it's my understanding, too, that dispensaries are not legal. Guidelines for police department enforcement, how to protect law enforcement and make their time well spent, and protect the public who relies on the marijuana for medical benefit. So all of you today have collectively raised the many issues that we were discussing in committee, reasons for creating a task force and getting some good, sound advice back from a broad sweep of the community as soon as possible so we can regulate medical marijuana in San Diego. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Emerald. Councilmember Young.
Thank you. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you to our chairman, Marty Emerald, in bringing forward this issue. Clearly, it's an issue that needs to be addressed either pro or con. I don't think anybody would argue that we have to find a way to address this issue. And so thank you for the work that you've done on this. I got a quick question also. In regards to guidelines, the task force, I should say the city council, can create policies or create guidelines on how to deal with with the dispensaries. What types of guidelines can we work on? There's certain things that we can't regulate, and there are certain things that we can regulate. So could you kind of give me a quick breakdown of that?
If you're talking about regulating them from the land use perspective, you could look at where you would not want the dispensaries to be located. Mm-hmm. That would be one example. Is that along the lines of what you were thinking?
So basically it's land use regulations, and what other type of regulations can we look at?
Well, you couldn't, if you're thinking in terms of amounts of marijuana, you couldn't allow people to transfer or distribute less than what the state has already. Okay,
so we can't do that.
Prop 215 has already said that they could possess or transfer.
So basically it's land use.
Our current municipal code actually allows people to possess more than the state law.
Okay, but the issues that we can address are land use, operational hours,